If you recently inherited a house in Manatee County, Florida, the first question is not how quickly can I sell this house? The first question is, do I legally have authority to sell it? Because if the deed is still in the deceased owner's name, you must go through probate. Or multiple heirs are involved, you may not be ready to close yet. On the legal side, once it's cleared, you have three main options. One is to keep it, two is listed with an agent, or three, sell it to an as-is cash buyer. So let's walk through this together. My name is Ilya Kosilov. I'm the founder of Finest Home Buyers. Before real estate, I served in the NYPD for about 8 years. And whether I'm dealing with people in ministry, in business, or in real estate, I've learned something very important. People need the truth. No pressure, no confusion, not somebody telling them only what they want to hear. They need the truth so they can make the right decision. So this video is for anyone who inherited a house in Manatee County, including Bradenton, Palmetto, Parrish, Lakewood Ranch, or surrounding communities. We also work with inherited properties in Sarasota County, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, and throughout Florida. Maybe you live out of state. Maybe the house needs a lot of work. Maybe you still, maybe it's still filled with your loved one's belongings and you don't even know where to begin. Maybe there's a mortgage, unpaid taxes, liens, or family members who can't agree. Whatever the situation is, slow down. Let's take it one step at a time. The first thing we need to determine is how the property was owned. Was the house only in the deceased person's name? Was someone else listed on the deed? Was it owned jointly with survivorship rights? Was it placed inside of a trust? Was it protected as a Florida homestead? Are several people claiming an ownership interest? These details matter because they can completely change the process. And here's where many families become confused. Having a will does not automatically mean you can immediately sell the property. Everyone says, yo, I have a will, I have a will. No. The will may explain who should inherit the property, but the probate may still need to be opened. The court may need to appoint a person to represent a title company, or closing attorney must confirm who has the legal rights to sign. So if several heirs are involved, one person usually cannot make the decision. For everybody just because they are the oldest child, live closest to the property, or whatever, they're handling the bills. Please don't guess your way through this. Don't assume. Get a qualified Florida probate attorney or title professional involved early. At Finest Home Buyers, we can evaluate the property, explain our buying process. We don't replace your attorney, CPA, or tax professional. The legal side needs to handle it correctly. We do work with probate attorneys closely. They understand your situation and they understand how we work, and we can work, all three of us, very closely to get this done as fast as possible. So once you know who has the authority to make this decision, you have three real options. Option one is to keep the property. Maybe somebody in the family wants to live there. Maybe you want to use it as a second home, vacation home. Maybe the family wants to rent it and keep it as an investment. That might be a good option, but you have to look at the complete responsibility, right? Who will pay the mortgage? Who will pay the taxes, the insurance, the utilities, the HOA fees, and the repairs? Who will manage the tenants? What happens when the roof needs to be replaced or the air conditioner system stops working? And if several heirs own the property, who makes those decisions? So keeping the house can be an extra, work for you, but only when the family and the numbers are working together. So just run that scenario by the family and go through it. Especially if you guys are out of state, it might be hard. Second option is to list with an agent. So if the property is in good condition and you have time, listing with a real estate agent may help you pursue a higher retail price. But don't become distracted by one big number called the listing price. The listing price is not necessarily what you're going to walk away with. You have to subtract repairs, cleaning, commissions, closing expenses, buyer concessions, inspections, the cost of holding the property until it closes, meaning that the mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, water, electricity, those things you have to pay every month until the property sells. And if the house is outdated, you may also be competing with renovated homes in the area that have new kitchens, bathrooms, roofs, floorings, air conditioner systems. So look at the entire picture. And your third option is to sell it as is for cash. A direct cash sale may make more sense when your house needs substantial work. The heirs live out of state, the property is vacant, or family wants a simple process. And I'm going to tell you the truth. A cash offer is normally lower than the retail price of a full renovated house. Why? Well, because the buyer's taking the responsibility for the repairs, the cleanouts, the holding costs, and the resale risk. In exchange, you may be able to avoid repairs, cleaning, showings, agents, commissions, and buyer financing problems, which happen all the time. It's not automatically better, it's automatically worse. It's a trade-off. That's why you have to compare real numbers. Not just bigger numbers somebody's gonna put in front of you, say, oh, I could list this house for $80,000 more, right? You must analyze this. The realtor wants you to sell the property, so they get paid their commission. Of course, they're gonna present you some higher numbers, but there's no guarantee in it. So before making a decision, check these 5 things. Number 1, title and probate. Who actually owns the property and who has the legal authority to sell it? Number 2, the debts connected to the property. Is there a mortgage? Are there unpaid property taxes? HOA balances, code violations, judgments, or other liens? So the third thing I would check is the actual condition. Don't just say, oh, it looks okay. What is happening with the roof? How old is it? How about the air conditioner system? Is the plumbing, electrical still good? Any foundation issues? Kitchen, bathroom, flooring? Look at those things. The fourth would be the monthly carrying cost. What is the estate paying for every month while the house sits there? What's the price for the mortgage? What's the mortgage payment? What's the taxes payment? Insurance, electricity, water, lawn care, HOA payments, pole maintenance, it all adds up. So just run those numbers, put them on a list, and understand, say, hey, if we're gonna keep this house, it's gonna cost us, $3,000 a month to hold this property. And number 5 is your true net amount. This is the number that matters the most. How much money will the heirs actually receive after repair, commission, closing expenses, liens, holding costs, and everything else? Don't compare a cash offer to a highest renovated sales in the neighborhood. Compare what you actually walk away with under each option. And that's how you make a wise decision. So if you're considering a direct sale, let me explain how our process works. First, you contact Finest Homebuyers and you tell them about the property. We ask you about the address, the condition, the occupancy, needed repairs, probate status, and what's your family trying to accomplish. You don't need to have every answer before speaking with us, right? Sometimes it's okay, we just need the basic information. We can handle the conversation and help you understand what information may still be needed. However, before the transaction can close, the appropriate person must have legal authority to sell it, and the title company must approve the title. So next, on the phone call, right, when you reach out to us, we'll evaluate the property, the location, the condition. We'll check what comparable sales and anticipated repairs. And if the property fits our buying criteria, we can present a no obligation cash offer. Then you compare the offer to your other options, right? Look at the price, look at the expenses, look at the timeline, look at the responsibility, look at the risk. If you accept this offer, the title company or closing attorney verifies the ownership, they order the necessary payoffs, they examine the title, and identify anything else that must be resolved before closing. So with an as-is sale to Finest Homebuyers, you don't even have to renovate the house for us to prepare it like a traditional listing. It's a hands-off, easy process, and the fastest we've done was 2.5 weeks. So there's some frequently asked questions, and I just want to address those too. So, can I sell the house before probate's finished? You can begin gathering information, right? Evaluating your options, but whether you can sign a contract or complete the closing depends on the probate status, the title, the estate documents, and who has the legal authority. So we'll have to find those out. What happens if there's multiple heirs? Well, the required party must be properly representing and legally authorized. If a family member disagree, don't try to force the sale or hide the disagreement. Slow down and get the legal guidance. Protect the family relationship as much as possible. A house is not worth destroying your entire family over this. And I've seen it so many times. When money gets involved and the family gets involved, it can become really ugly. That's why it's good to have a title company and legal documents here who represent an appointed person who will make that decision. What if there's a mortgage? Well, a mortgage doesn't automatically prevent the house from being sold. The closing company, right, the title company attorneys can obtain a payoff, and the loan may be paid from the sale of the proceeds if there's sufficient equity. Other liens, taxes, the state obligation may also be they might affect the final amount, because usually it's whatever you get minus your mortgage and liens. Another frequently asked question is, will I have to pay off taxes? Well, Florida does not currently impose its own estate tax in most modern estates, but federal capital gains rules may apply when inherited property is sold. The tax calculation depends on the property's basis and the details of the estate, right? So speak with a qualified CPA or tax attorney before relying on estimates. I'm just sharing you what I've learned from the experience, right? I'm not a professional legal advisor or a CPA or a tax attorney. So another question is, do I have to repair or clean the house? Now, when you sell it directly to us under the as-is agreement, you don't have to do anything. But if you list traditionally, repairs may help increase their retail price. But make sure the expected increase is worth the money in time and responsibility, right? And most people who are buying traditionally, they're using a mortgage, and the properties won't qualify if there's certain things, right? If there's peeling paint, a roof leak, the air conditioner is not working, issues with electrical, they won't qualify for a traditional mortgage. The bank wants to protect their investment, so they're not going to just lend it, unlike investors who are doing cash purchases. Next question is, can I sell if I live outside of Florida? So living outside of Florida does not automatically prevent you from selling. Many parts of the transactions that we handle are remote through the title companies, and depending on the property and probate status and signing requirements, we're able to do all this stuff virtually. So we had a scenario, we had 3 family members who were in 3 different states, and they were able to get the property sold in Florida. One was in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and another one was, I think, in Michigan. So we were still able to get it, and they received their money. They never had to go to Florida, never had to do anything. So if you inherit a house in Manatee County, please don't make a decision from a place of pressure, confusion, or grief. Get the facts first. Confirm who has the authority to sell. Understand the condition of the house. Calculate the real expenses. Then compare it with your 3 options. Keep it, list it, or sell it directly as is. And if you want to discuss an inherited property in Bradenton, Palmetto, Parrish, Lakewood Ranch, or anywhere in Manatee County, call Finest Home Buyers at 321-321-5036. We also help property owners in Sarasota, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, and throughout Florida. You can also visit finesthomebuyers.com to complete a short property form. There's no pressure, there's no obligation to accept an offer. My prayers is that this video gives you and your family clarity, helps you avoid making rushed decisions during these already difficult times. My name is Ilya Kosilov with Finest Home Buyers, and remember this: people before properties, truth before pressure, and clarity before making a decision. God bless.